What's going on, Tamers? Editor Varney here, just saying that Adrian did have some technical issues last week, which we did fix. He recorded the week 11 TBL meta snapshot, which we figured we would get uploaded, so you guys will be seeing that today. He is recording the week 12 meta snapshot, which will be uploaded either tomorrow or on Thursday, depending on when he gets it recorded, if he does get it recorded tonight, and when I am able to edit it. Just wanted to give you guys that heads up because we know that this video is a week late and that you guys are looking forward to week 12 because that is the most recent week that happened. Anyways, hope you enjoy the video. Let's get into it.
What is up, Tamers? Welcome back to another video from DigiGuard United. My name is Adrian, and today we're going to be going over the top 4 from the Tamers Battle League Season 2, Week 11. Just real quick, before we get this video started, unfortunately, we did lose Akira Toriyama this past week. Myself, and I bet a bunch of other people who've tuned into our channel or just anywhere else in general are big Dragon Ball fans. I can assume that and safely speak on that. For me personally, it was my gateway into the anime world, and I'll always be forever grateful for that series that he brought to us. Very big fan. I have a Dragon Ball tattoo on the back of my arm, so I'm a big fan, and I just wanted to send my condolences out to his family. And we did lose a stalwart figure in the anime and manga community, so rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. Thank you for all that you've done for us, and hopefully your franchise is in good hands and will live on for many years to come. So with all that said, let's get right into it. I'm gonna shout out Leppy here real quick. He left a comment a couple of weeks ago on our other Tamers Battle League, because I did mention like what you guys wanted to see out of this series, and he did bring up something pretty interesting. I know we're solely looking at the top 4 as far as analytics is concerned, but he did kind of want us to glance over, what like other decks were being included in the tournament, just so we can see the diversity. So we're going to go over that real quick. Shout out to Leppy. Spoiler alert, he did place top 4 in this event as well. So we're going to go ahead and look at just some of the stuff here that was represented. You can't really see everything, but we did have a pretty good variety, I would say. Some security controls, some Shine Greymon, Gallantmon made an appearance, Armor Rush, which is probably going to be a big deck going into BT15. We have Belphamon, we have D-Brigade, Leomon, Melga, so there's a good variety. The others are probably just decks that aren't specified to a specific like archetype, excuse me. There's probably some Numon in here, as you can see. And with that being said, I'm going to pop up the top 4 graphic that we have. So this was our top 4. We're going to get right into the decks real quick. I'm dubbing this first place deck Quantumon Control. First place. Second place we had Melga. Third place we had Numon Control. And fourth place Leppy piloted a spicy Leomon deck. I don't want to give too much away as we're going to get into it as our first overview here. But yeah, I like seeing variety. I think Digimon lends itself very well to that. So let's jump right into it. This is the first time I'm seeing these decks. So with our 4th place finish, Ley The Bear, he played what looks to be like a Leomon Imperial combination. This is super interesting to me. Obviously, we have probably one of the best Leomons in the game from EX2. On deletion, draw 1, gain 2 memory, which is really nice, and it's a blocker. So it's got that Leomon theme to it. It's just always going to kind of die for a benefit. And you get to cheat them out with the Jerrys, which is really nice. Jerry is a 4-cost memory, not a memory tamer, sorry, 4-cost tamer. On play a Leomon for free without paying its cost. But then when you're attacked, you can suspend her to draw a card. So it's nice. You have blockers, so you can always kind of facilitate that attack, or whether it's attacking at your Digimon or attacking a security. Anytime your opponent turns sideways, you can go ahead and get some hand advantage from that. We do have Leomon X antibody, which is nice. I'm not sure if Jerry plays out Leomon X's. I don't think so. But being able to Digivolve for free over a Leomon is nice with that blue-green synergy in this type of a deck, especially when you look at the top end here with all these Imperial Dramon cards, as well as Davis Ken, which unsuspends dual color Digimon when they Digivolve, as long as you spin the Tamer. The Gomamon rookies are nice. I'm not too sure what Gomamon X does, but I know the Gomamon from BT15, when your stack dies, you can spit him out, and then I believe at the start of your turn, I forget what he does. I'm so bad when it comes to like remembering all these effects, but there's probably a world where I should probably do some research beforehand just to know exactly what all the cards do. But I really do enjoy looking at these decks with you guys at first glance and just being surprised, because this is the first time I'm seeing this and I get to react to it more organically. But if you do prefer me having some research ready for you, just let me know in the comments down below. Pangiamon is nice, both of them, X Antibody and regular Pangiamon, because they're treated as Leomons. I believe the Pangiamon does, the Jerry does trigger that. As far as the top end is concerned, Imperial Dramon cards is just really good. Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode Ace is really good. Being able to come in for that counter blast Evo, suspend to unsuspend, and you could play a Tamer for free on suspension. Fighter mode is really good from BT8. I still think this is probably the better fighter mode until we get the Ace. Dragon mode is good because it spits out the two sources, and as you can see, both Leomons have on deletion effects. One is gain 2 memory, one is gain 2 memory draw. This fighter mode is really good as long as you're not spinning your Ace, because they will overflow, so you got to be super careful with that. And Gobblebon at the top is really nice as a level 7, just to ensure that OTK with the unsuspension and everything like that. Tamers, you know, Davis Ken, really good. You're going to gain essentially 2 memory almost every turn if you have a blue-green source. Davis is the best blue memory tamer in the game. Being able to add 2 in these types of decks is really nice. And then as far as options, you know, 1 mental training is interesting. Probably just for the free champion Evo, because you'll promote a rookie from raising, free champion Evo, free X antibody Evo, and then you can just kind of climb from there. It also searches basically every card in the deck except for HPD, because there's no HPD and Pangiamon. Those are the only 2 mono green colors in this cards in this deck. So those are the only 2 cards I'm gonna whiff on. And then Megadeth. Megadeth is such a good removal card, you know, being only 5 costed, especially now with all the aces in the format. If you Megadeth an ace, you're essentially playing this for 1 or 2, which is really nice. And it can save you from two different threats, because it suspends one and then bounces a suspended card. So if your opponent's going wide, you can kind of have some board control there. So it's just a really good card. Yeah, Megadeth is solid, and HPD, of course, it's at 1 for a reason. Just a free a reduction of 4 cost on evolution is really nice by suspension. Works really well with the Imperial Dramon Ace, because on suspension, Imperial Dramon Ace can play a Tamer for free. So if you go Imperial Dramon Ace, and then you want to go into an Imperial Dramon fighter mode for free, I mean, they do have reduced evolution cost anyway, so that might not be the best route. But if there was if you had another target where you wanted to suspend this Imperial Dramon to Digivolve up on another stack and then get the effects from this guy, I could totally see that. And then as far as eggs, I think this is your blue staple here moving forward. 4 Wanyamon, 1 Bukamon. Bukamon's just too good not to run, having that jamming built in, as long as you have more sources than your opponent in stack. Pretty solid. Shout out to Leppy, you know, for taking something original and doing well with it. Blue-green's just a solid color combination, and I really like it. So we'll see what happens with that moving forward. On to our 3rd place deck. We have another Numon. So Numon has made back-to-back top 4 finishes. This deck is slightly different from the one that we talked about last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather. I do apologize for the lack of TBL. I did have some technical difficulties last week. Yavarni and I finally ironed them out, so I'm hoping everything goes well from here on out. So just look forward to these videos coming out on a more consistent basis. That is my bad. But this is very similar to the deck that was run a couple of weeks ago for a 1st place finish. The only differences I'm seeing here is the 1 Louis and the 1 Digimon Emperor. Digimon Emperor I could totally see for being kind of like a stall card, preventing your opponent from promoting rookies. If they do, they're going to essentially pass turn over to you. So they're going to have to Digivolve higher up in their stack in Raising before they promote. And Louis, I like Louis because Louis, to me, it's kind of like hybrid for game. Like if you're playing 5 eggs and you have a rookie in Raising, or you're building a stack in Raising, you could just Louis and promote that stack. It's essentially hybrid for game because, yes, I understand a hybrid Digivolves over a Tamer for 2, but Louis, when he promotes the card from Raising, you can suspend to gain a memory, so it is essentially just 2 memory anyway. So I guess you just kind of have to pick and choose what you want to do. This is kind of, essentially, Louis to me is hybrid for game. That's how I look at it. There are some decks that can benefit from running multiple Louis, especially when you pair them with Ukamon being such a strong rookie. But it does get kind of clunky there because the only benefit that it offers you is that promotion from Raising. There's no real other benefits you're going to get from having multiple Louis out there. Believe me, I've tried. One proto form, I'm seeing this a lot more in decks. Solid. This is a solid deck. Obviously, it has that control aspect to it, and we're definitely gonna see a lot more from Numon and Sukamon and all that other stuff. So stay tuned for that. Our third place finish, we have Melga. Now, I've talked about these decks. So I've talked about Melga. I've talked about Numon. I haven't talked about the Leo Imperial deck, and I haven't talked about our first place deck. So as far as Melga is concerned, or Melga Rumon is concerned, we had this conversation the last time we reviewed this deck. Moving into the March 1st ban list with the limitation of Bukamon and all your purple hits, this deck was going to probably morph into more of a blue deck. And as you can see, we're seeing that right off of the bat, right? We have a lot more blue sources in this deck. We have a lot more focus on blue. Where Garurumon X is essentially a blue card, and then this Where Garurumon here can Digivolve over a Garurumon because it has that black box Digivolution text. So it doesn't really matter what color it's Digivolving over. But essentially, that's really it. Like, yeah, you have your Melga ace, but Purple Melga can Digivolve over any Where Garurumon, as long as whether it's blue or purple doesn't matter. So it's essentially a blue deck. I mean, yes, if you look further down at the options, you are playing Mental Training, which only fishes blue sources, so you are going to whiff on your mono purple cards, and you are going to whiff on your white cards. But we did talk about X antibody decks that focus on Digivolving up the ladder. We did focus on this combination here of 2-1. So I do like Protoform as a card. I really do. I think it's a really solid card. But if you look at the top end here, they're playing Blitz Omni into Omni X, right? You're never going to Protoform Blitz Omni into Omni X. It's just never going to happen. So this strategy here with the OG X antibody is a lot more efficient because you're getting to Blitz Swing and then you're going into the X antibody inheritable to go into Omni X, which is going to trash security, pop a Digimon on field, whatever, and you get all the bonuses that way, and you still get the protection on Omni X. So this is probably where we're going to see a lot of X antibody decks just go if they focus on promoting up the ladder of X antibody. I'm really liking this Where Garurumon ace. I think when it comes to aces, like 1 or 2 is the sweet spot when it comes to ultimates. Now, I've been having conversations with people about I prefer mega aces as opposed to ultimate aces, but there is a space for ultimate aces in the decks. There's just a lot more frail than megas, so the overflow is going to happen a lot more consistently than it will with a mega, especially because you probably can't offer too much protection. But I do like this Where Garurumon. I really do. Being able to lock your opponent out of a suspension now in the meta is huge. No blockers, no on attack effects, no while suspended effects, no inheritables triggers, so being able to lock your opponent out of a lot of that is really nice. You also get the added benefit of being able to trigger the addition by the draw one on the Digivolution or the on play, which is basically adding a card to hand by an effect. So you're just going to trigger your Mats, which is nice because Matt's going to gain you a Tamer. Gain you a memory. There's no traditional memory Tamer in this sense, which is a topic of discussion that I have set up for some podcast down the road with the guys. I do think memory tamers are getting to the point of obsolete or being forced out of contention, if that makes any sense, but we'll talk about that another day. But this is a solid Melga deck. I mean, it's pretty basic. Again, limitation of Bukamon is going to push you into a Sunamon egg. You do have the option of BT5 if you're looking for more of a draw, but because there's less protection, the 1k DP does help you a ton. I'm sad to see no EX5 Melga. I really do like that card as a 1-of, in my opinion. And yeah, this is pretty solid. Two cool boys. I think the perfect number. We have 10 champions here. 3, 6, 9, 10. Yep. Yeah, this is solid. I really like this deck. The only thing is I don't really like the EX1 Gabu. I prefer the BT5 Gabu for the search. But again, I understand the inheritables aspect of it. Other than that, solid. And then as far as our first place deck is concerned, I don't know what to call this. It's kind of giving me like old school red yellow security control vibes, but it's got Quantumon as your top end, so I kind of wanted to call this Quantum Control. I feel like that sounds a lot cooler. I have no idea what this deck does, except just give your opponent a huge headache. I mean, it's got so many good removal spells. Hell Scythe. Is this Trident Gaia? That's so weird seeing Trident Gaia in a list. Anyway, Trident Gaia, I guess the red sources with the eggs and stuff like that, that's totally fine. Hell Scythe is going to come out of security, and you do have purple and yellow sources here. Crimson Blaze, I think, is the best red removal option right now, just because you can play it for a reduced cost depending on how wide your opponent's board is, but it also gives you the added effect of preventing them from playing Digimons with effects. And then this is the overall best, I think, removal option in the game, as being Heaven's Judgment. You do have yellow sources, so that's not going to be a problem. And you do have multicolor sources here, so you can get to upwards of multiple thousands of DP, because you have red, yellow, you have purple, you have green, and you have blue. So you have a lot of different colors here. More consistently, you're probably going to be around that 18k range, because you're probably not going to have that many colors consistently on board. You can if you trigger the EG with the Mind Link, but that's to be seen. Yeah, this is really solid. I'm assuming this is for when your tamer becomes suspended, game 1 memory inheritable, which is good for Tai and Kari. I love this dual tamer here. I think it's really good. Raremon promos are crazy. They're so expensive, but they are really good. Magna Angemon Ace, one of the best aces in the game right now. Angemon is creeping up there as well, if not already better. Yeah, this just looks like your run of the mill. I don't want to say run of the mill in like a disrespectful way. I'm just saying like run of the mill. Like this is what I would think when I hear control deck. This is what I would hear. Azulongmon Ace is really nice too. It's just a really good card. And then of course you have Death Axemon, just really good at controlling, playing for a cheap cost. Yeah, I mean, Ukamon is just such a good utility rookie. You know, just helps you consistently have a rookie to Digivolve in Raising. You do have to be careful with it being a white Digimon. You're not going to be able to activate any one of your options, especially if you're waiting to have that red source. So there might be some sequential things that you have to worry about. But as far as like just looking at this on paper, this looks like, for me anyway, as like a player, like an opposition to this looks like a nightmare. I mean, there's just so much going on here. There's so many different cards. There's so many different answers and so many unsuspecting things that can happen with a deck like this. But shout out to, what was the player's name that took this to first place? Shout out to Nolan. I mean, this is super innovative, super interesting. I don't really know, moving into BT16, I don't really know if a lot of these decks are going to stay, like if they have staying power moving into BT16. I know there's a lot of different things going on with BT16, and we're getting reveals for EX7 or EX6 rather. We have all the reveals for. We're getting reveals for BT17. So there's a lot of, you know, changing things in the format, which is nice, but you know, we do get some time for the meta to just kind of flesh its way out. So I love seeing stuff like this, because it's not your typical just like same 4 decks that are topping every week. You know, we have had a lot of different variety. As we look here, we had 15 players, which is a pretty good, you know, sample size with a lot of different representation. I'm gonna try and get more on top of this, just so we can show what type of decks to expect, because there are, there's always questions about that. Like Leppy pointed out in the comment section down below. It's nice to see variety. It's nice to see that Digimon is a game that's very welcoming and inviting to a lot of its players, and you basically can just play whatever you want. I say that all the time. Play whatever you want, play what makes you happy, play what you have fun with, and just figure it out. Just run through the gauntlet, play against all the meta decks, figure out your matchups, and you shouldn't have any issues. But that's going to be our top 4 for this week. Let me know in the comment section down below if there's anything in specific that you're looking for. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this series, and I promise I will get this to be more consistent to where you can expect it pretty much every single Monday. With that being said, I'm going to get on out of here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.